double check and make sure the stream is live. Double check and make sure the stream is live. Alright, let's teach Gunbreaker. Okay, so we have a lot of buttons here, okay? But that doesn't need to overwhelm us, okay? This is level 80 Gunbreaker. When we go scale it down quite a bit, there's a couple moves that change. For example, Blasting Zone is Danger Zone at lower levels, okay? So that's one thing we have to worry about. The key to that is whenever it hits a higher level, of course it does a lot more damage. When I say a lot more damage, I mean considerable amount of damage. Okay, so this is 350 at Danger Zone. Well, when it becomes Blasting Zone, it goes to 800. So that's a humongous difference. So we always want to use it on cooldown. Okay, so our opening rotation. First of all, let's be in royal guard because, you know, we're tanking. Even though we're the higher DPS of all the tanks right now. So, the biggest key to this is we're going to start our rotation, and we're going to start with just our simple combo. Okay, so we want to build our gunpowder gauges up right here. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to go straight through it with Keen Edge into Brutal Shell, straight into Solid Barrel. Okay, so now that's the opening of our rotation right there. Okay, that's what we want to start with. That's the biggest key, because now we have one shell. Alright, now you can go ahead and farm two if you want. It's really personal preference, but I believe it's a DPS loss if you sit there and wait on it. Okay, so what you want to do, as soon as you get this first shell up, okay, we're going to pop No Mercy. Alright, No Mercy is our damage increase. Alright, now notice, whenever you get to level 70, you get these three abilities: Gnashing Fang, Savage Claw, and Solid Barrel. Or not Solid Barrel, Wicked Talent, excuse me. Okay, and they also unlock Continuation. Actually, I'm wrong. You have these earlier, but you unlock Continuation at level 70. Okay, and the Continuation turns Gnashing Fang into Jugular Rip, Savage Claw into Dominum Tear, and Wicked Talent into Eye Gouge. Okay, this is a big component of our damage. So we want to hold off on using Burst Strike if we can until later. Alright, later on we do get the ability called Bloodfest, which it'll cycle into this in just a moment. Okay, so what we want to do after we've got our first combo set, you have the choice of either going for a second combo to get your second powder cartridge up, or you can go directly into No Mercy like I'm about to do now. Now I'm going to follow it right there, Gnashing Fang, Continuation with Jugular Rip. I'm going a little slower than I would normally. That's Savage Claw into Dominum Tear. Okay, Wicked Talon into Eye Gouge. Okay, so that right there is going to be our key weave. Okay, this is where we're going to be able to do all of our damage. That is the highest amount of attack that we can do, and we do it consistently. Now, the thing about this is we want to be able to double weave with this. Okay, you have a dot called Bow Shock that'll put everything with a dot on it. Okay, it's a very small potency, 90, but it's still a dot. It needs to go on, even if it's a single target. We also have Sonic Break, and we have this at early levels, okay? So it needs to go on as well. So ultimately what we want to do, we want to move everything around the No Mercy window here. So we have 20 seconds to get all of this in, and there's no way to do it if you're sitting there waiting on it. So what you want to do, as soon as this comes back up, I'll show you. And I'm going to go ahead and do it from the beginning of the rotation here. 1, 6 for me, 5, okay, No Mercy. Boom. Now I'm weaving in Blasting Zone. There. Now I'm weaving in Bow Shock. There. Into that. Okay. And if I haven't already, I'm putting out Sonic Break, which I have not yet. Okay, so Sonic Break, I still have 4 seconds. Okay, so we want to be able to put in Burst Strike. Now, had I gone a little faster and not wasted time, I would use Bloodfest. Which I will reset this. We have 30 seconds. So, the key to this is trying to keep as many power cartridges in there as you can during your burst window. After that, then it's just standard rotation. So for me, it would be 165, 165, boom, okay, go into Burst Strike, and then whenever Gnashing Fang comes up, because you can get 2 rotations in before the, or well, 2 rotations, and then your No Mercy comes back. So I'm going to do it full cycle here, just like so. Okay, so we're going to go from the very beginning of the fight to the end, or at least through the first cooldown sets. Okay, so we're going to go boom, Keen Edge, Brutal Shell, into solid barrel, straight into no mercy. There, flashing zone. Weave again, bow shock. Weave again. Okay, and we want to be able to put sonic breakup. Now we're going to use this. Boom. Okay, so now I'm going to get 2 of those in. So now I'm out of cooldowns. Okay, I'm out of all this. All right, so we're just going to follow with our standard combo. That's all we've got. And that's basically the entire rotation. But as you can see, Gnashing Fang is about to come back up. I'm going to have 1 charge as soon as it comes back up. So we're going to go right back into it, reweave. Okay, blasting zone in there. Boom, just like that. Okay, so now the next time Gnashing Fang comes back live again, I'm going to have 2 powder cartridges as well as no mercy being up. The only thing is that now I have dead time here because I'm going to have to pop one of those and put in burst strike because this is not available yet. But as you can see, all of my cooldowns are coming back live. With a little bit more skill speed, this is even better. So we're going to go right back into it. Pop. Boom. Pop. Which... Weave. Stick in. And then burst strike. And then when this comes back, when Bloodfest comes back, we're good again. And I can get 1 more burst strike in before the cooldown goes off, because that actually went in with the no mercy before it fell off. And now it's just rinse and repeat. So we're not going to freak out about anything. We're going to continue to do the same rotation, because really and truthfully, Gunbreaker is not hard. And the key thing is that you can sit there and hold on to solid barrel for a while. So as you can see, it's still lit up and still get a power gauge out of it. So now I'm good. Go right back into it again with burst strike. And straight into it again. So, again, 1 more full rotation. Go ahead and give me 2 powder cartridges. Okay, so, no mercy's back. So I'm going to go ahead and queue this up. I'm sitting here waiting on it. Go through the entire rotation. And it will still be there whenever I'm done. So, put that back. Good. Okay. Reapply my dot just in case, and burst strike 1 more time, and that's your basic rotation. So that's through about a 4-minute fight there, and that is the majority of how you use almost all of your skills there. There's a few skills that we didn't cover in this, which for the most part are pretty simple to be able to talk about here. So would you reset already? Thank you. Alright, so AoE rotation while you're tanking. Very simple. This is the most dumb rotation there is. Let's go ahead and use this powder keg. Okay, alright. So, at low levels, it's a lot harder to do this because you don't have access to the majority of your skills. But, you do have enough abilities to be able to hold threat as well as do a lot of AoE damage. So, anything we're looking at is a rule of 3. If there's 3 or more enemies, we want to be able to use all of our AoE abilities. So, all of our stuff's up. Alright, so we're going to start off with Demon Slice, AoE attack, followed by Demon Slaughter. And that's the entire rotation, which this is pretty dumb at this point, but it's pretty much true. Okay, so I have 2 powder cartridges ready. Okay, so I'm going to pop No Mercy into Faded Circle. Pop that, pop Bow Shock, do the same thing. Okay, and then you want to be able to put your dot on something. Okay, so I'm going to continue to use this. If there's more than 3 mobs, I'm for sure using Faded Circle. Okay, but if there's just 3 mobs and one of them's low, I'm specifically taking time out of the time that I have, and I'm using my single target DPS combo between Gnashing Fang, Savage Claw, and Wicked Talon, because that's a little bit better for AoE. Okay, especially if something's low. Alright, so let's talk defensively real quick. Alright. The way my bars are set up, it looks kind of like a clusterfuck. That's just kind of how it is. You have a lot of abilities, but they're all hotkeyed differently. So if something looks like it's out of place, it probably is on the screen. But in my hands, it pretty much makes sense. Okay. So we have our basic Rampart. Okay. Very, very self-explanatory. 20% damage off, and for 20 seconds. You have Reprisal, lower your target's damage. Simple. Okay. Then we have Nebula. Nebula is the big cooldown that Gunbreakers have. Nebula is 30% for 10 seconds, okay? But it has a 2-minute cooldown, so we have to kind of be wary when we use it. That's when we want to be able to stop anything big or huge-ass pulls. Now, the thing about this is my go-to, Heart of Stone. Okay, Heart of Stone doesn't seem like it's a very good cooldown at first until you really look at it. Heart of Stone, it ends up reducing damage taken by party members or self for 15%. Okay, so it's actually pretty sexy, to be honest with you. It lasts for 7 seconds, and it only has a cooldown of 25 seconds. So any kind of tank busters that we have, we want to be able to pop Heart of Stone. Okay, and the thing about this is if someone is completely screwing up inside your group, you can always look at them, which I don't have anything to target other than the Starking Dummy right here, or maybe the Retainer, and I can throw Heart of Stone on that person. Okay, and the thing about that, if I have Brutal Shell up, which does nullify a little bit of damage, okay, if I have that up and I throw Heart of Stone on somebody, they get my Brutal Shell effect as well. So they get a little shield on there as well. So that's really, really good. It takes precedent over a lot of the other cooldowns at this point, just because of its reliance. Okay, so talking tanking here for just a second. We also have another cooldown. Okay, this is increased parry rate by 50%, which is camouflage, and damage taken is reduced by 10%. Okay, this cooldown kind of goes by the wayside a lot because people don't think about using it for 10%, but the parry rate kind of helps increase the effectiveness of this because you take a lot less damage. Also, it lasts for 20 seconds, so it's a great cooldown to kind of weave in after Heart of Stone falls and you have a lot of mobs on you. Now, if you have some hard-hitting mobs, of course, you're going to want to go Heart of Stone to Nebula to Rampart, assuming it lasts that long, and then your last-ditch effort is camouflage, and by that point in time, Heart of Stone's back up, and you can kind of weigh out a little bit until Rampart comes alive again. But that's just, that's speculation. We have one more defensive ability, and that's Heart of Light. Heart of Light is a magic damage for reduction for both you and the entire party if they're close. The range on it is, let's see, 15 yards or 15 yalms. So it's a decent ability, but to be honest with you, you got to know what magic damage is and what's not. If you don't know what the magic damage abilities are from bosses or mobs or whatever, this cooldown is going to just be completely useless. So I use this on a lot of the EX pools and whatnot, especially if I have a lot of raid damage coming in that I know for a fact is magic. It does help your healers quite a bit, and it comes up a lot. So that's the majority of your cooldowns, other than the one that I left off. Actually, I left two off, excuse me. You have Aurora. Okay, Aurora should be basically used on cooldown, especially if you're taking a lot of damage, and it can be thrown on somebody else too. So you can throw it on, which again, I have nobody in the party that's close, but you could be able to throw it on, like, say, this Retainer here, and they would be able to get some of the effect of it as well. And it's just a 200 potency, hot for 18 seconds. It's not great, but as you can see, 3877, 3902. So it's just a general heal there. So nothing just overly aggressive. But the big one here is Super Bolide. Okay, and for some reason they have an error in the game right now which allows you to die with it on. It's happened to me a few times. It's also happened to a lot of people during EX groups and stuff and whatnot. But Super Bolide, it's pretty self-explanatory. It lasts for 8 seconds, okay? And the effects are not granted immediately. Now, it's going to get a whole half a second to almost a full second after you've clicked the button. It's going to drop you to 1 HP, and any HP after that is regained slowly, but it can be regained through healing spells or Aurora or whatever. But you can take 0 damage after you've been knocked down to 1 HP. It's a great little tool. But the cooldown on it's pretty hefty, 360 seconds. So we want to try and only say that for last-ditch efforts if we have to, or unless you know you're going to be able to get it up multiple times in one fight. So that's the basics of Gunbreaker and how to tank with it.